Most people hand over their entire financial future to a stranger in a nice suit and never once ask the one question that could save or destroy their retirement. Let that sink in. We're talking about decades of savings, your kid's inheritance, your ability to never work again, all handed over on a handshake and a glossy brochure. The word fiduciary sounds like something your doctor would diagnose you with, but it is actually the single most important legal distinction between someone who is required by law to act in your best interests and someone who is merely required to sell you something suitable. And here's the kicker: most people have no idea which one is sitting across from them at that kitchen table meeting. The financial advisory industry manages somewhere around $100 trillion globally. And a shockingly large slice of that is sitting with advisors who have zero legal obligation to put your needs above their own commissions. If you walked into a hospital and found out your surgeon only had to perform a suitable operation rather than the best one, you'd walk right back out the door. The first sign you have a real fiduciary is devastatingly simple. Ask them directly, out loud, are you a fiduciary 100% of the time? If they hesitate, pivot, or hand you a pamphlet, you have your answer before you've even sat down. Sign 2 is compensation transparency. And this is where the plot thickens, like a bad hedge fund prospectus. A true fiduciary will tell you exactly how they get paid. Fee only, flat rate, percentage of assets under management without you having to drag it out of them like a courtroom confession. Sign 3 is whether they recommend products from a limited shelf or from the entire market universe. Because an advisor locked into proprietary funds is like asking a Ford salesman which car you should buy. Sign 4 is whether they provide a written fiduciary oath or agreement, because verbal promises and good vibes are not legally binding documents. Sign 5 is one many people miss. Check their regulatory record on brokercheck.finra.org or the SEC's Investment Advisor Public Disclosure Database, because past complaints, settlements, and disciplinary actions are all sitting there in plain sight. Sign 6 is whether they hold a CFP, CFA, or similar credential, not because credentials make someone magic, but because the ethical standards baked into those designations require fiduciary conduct by rule. Now, here's where the behavioral economics gets spicy. Sign 7 is whether your advisor ever tells you no. If every meeting ends with them enthusiastically approving your wildest financial ideas, you don't have an advisor. You have an expensive yes man on a 1% commission. Sign 8 is portfolio complexity. And this one cuts deep because complicated portfolios often benefit the advisor more than the client. If your statement looks like an airline menu with 17 line items you've never heard of, that is worth a very direct follow-up conversation about who exactly those products are working for. Sign 9 is whether they proactively discuss tax efficiency. Because a fiduciary thinks about your total financial picture, not just the assets they manage. An advisor who ignores the tax drag on your portfolio is like a coach who only watches half the game and charges you for the full season. Sign 10 is the one that separates good from great. Does your advisor have a documented, repeatable investment process, or are they largely improvising based on gut feeling and whatever's on CNBC that morning? Process, not prediction, is what protects retirement accounts through recessions, rate hikes, and the kind of market chaos that makes people do irrational things at exactly the wrong time. Here's the historical pattern worth burning into your memory. Every major retail investor blow-up, from the dot-com era to the 2008 financial crisis to recent alternatives disasters, had one thing in common: an unsupervised conflict of interest between the advisor's income and the client's outcome. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room, you just need to ask better questions than everyone else in the room. The practical takeaway is not to panic, fire everyone, and shove your retirement into a mattress. It's to go into your next advisor meeting armed with these 10 checkpoints like a quiet, methodical auditor. Discipline in how you select the people managing your money is just as important as discipline in how you save it. At the end of the day, who you trust with your financial future is one of the highest leverage decisions you will make. And the cost of getting it wrong compounds just as reliably as the cost of getting it right. If you need help finding the right professionals, whether for financial planning, real estate investing, home contracting, or connecting with lenders, check out our links in the description below.